So I still haven't been diagnosed yet, but I'm giving you this story, and there's so much to it that I'm just trying to go over it really fast. And if there's anything that you want more information about, just ask. I'd love to give you more details about something. What happened next was we had a special speaker come during one of our conferences, and she came and she spoke to us. And when she started talking, there was something inside of me that went, that is the God I know. He is the one that talked to me when I was 5. I like her. I like what she's saying. I don't have to tap dance around and do all these things for God to pay attention to me. And that's what she pointed out. And I was very, very interested in taking her college class. She was teaching a college class for emotional healing, and I looked into registering at the college. But at the same time, there was another class called hermeneutics, and hermeneutics is the study of scripture, and it's more of a core basic class to take. Emotional healing, the class she was teaching, was an elective and just out there. And I brought this up to the leader that I was staying with, and I told her I want to go back to college. I'm thinking of taking this class, and her response is, no, you need to focus on your core. You need to do the hermeneutics class. And it just so happens that the teacher of the hermeneutics class was my old pastor, the very good pastor. I loved him, and his wife and his children all moved up farther north of California, and I miss them, and they were amazing people when I was younger. And the fact that he was teaching that class was exciting. It's like, I'd love to see him again, but I really want to take this girl's class. And the leader I was staying with was like, no, you need to do hermeneutics. And normally I would do everything the leaders told me to do, but just I wrestled with it. And I had another dream. Tell ya, I have lots of dreams. So I had this dream, and in this dream, there were 2 classrooms. And there was the hermeneutics classroom, and there was the emotional healing classroom. And I remember just looking and going, which one do I need to take? And in my dream, I'm like, God, which class do I need to take? Because I really want to do the emotional healing, but I'm being told by my leaders I should do this other one, and what should I do? And I distinctly heard God speak to my soul, go sit under that lady's teaching. That's what I heard. So I woke up, I went out, and I told the lady I was staying with, I'm like, I'm signing up for the emotional healing class. This is my dream. This is what I feel God's telling me to do, and I'm doing it. And so I registered for the class, and you'll not dig this. I mean, this is crazy. I went to class, and it was a 4-story building. There was different classrooms all over the place, and both classes were held at the exact same time, and both classes were on the same floor, and they were back to back and shared a secret special room. Like, you could go out of one class into this cubbyhole hideaway, and then another class. Like, these classes were side by side. And what was really cool is because both of them were smaller classes, about 10-15 people in each, we would combine at the beginning of class. So I got to see my old pastor, and he remembered me, and he would actually have me pray for everybody before the classes began. And yet I got to sit under this woman's teaching, and I'm sitting there going, this is ridiculous. This class and the classes side by side were exactly as I dreamed them. So I thought that was really cool. So I'm in her class, and I'm loving it, and I'm loving what I'm learning, and I'm still doing the healing ministry. And I'd been a part of it for so many years that they asked leaders to help out with childcare, because there were some new people that were coming to the classes, and they all had children. And so I finally went, okay, I can help out with the children. I was at the preschool for years. I mean, I know how to entertain kids. So I agreed for this season that I would go working with the kids. And so it was, I think, like a Wednesday night. They were in their meeting, and I went into the room where all the kids were going to be, small kids. I mean, I preschooled 3 and 4-year-olds, and so I figured that's the age I would have. But when I walked into this room, there was a diaper changing table in it. And something on the inside of me froze. And I mean froze, like my entire body turned into like icicles. I was chilled. I was freezing. Like, the room wasn't cold. I was cold. And I just, I felt like an ice cube. Like, everything just froze up. And I was terrified, and I was panicked, and I was like, I've worked with kids before. What is wrong with me? And I was almost hyperventilating, using my acting ability to be okay with the parents, but feeling like, what happened? And I don't like this. And can I get out of this room? And is this day going to be over? And when is this going to be over? And the only difference between that room and the preschool I worked at for years is the fact that they had a diaper changing table. When I worked at the preschool, they had to be out of diapers. We only took kids that were potty trained. That is the only difference. And I do not know why that triggered whatever it triggered, but it sent me on a very dark path. I left that day, and it took me hours to calm down. And the next time that I walked into church and we sang, and all the music's going and everything, that was my favorite time. Like, I spent most of my life, even when I wasn't in church, just singing to God. It was my communication with Him. This was our deal. Like, music touches my soul, and it is how I talk to God. And I walked into church all ready to do the most favorite thing I love to do and sing. And as soon as the song started, my head saw God's throne become my stepdad's red and black chair. And I crumpled and I sat down in my seat and I just sobbed. And every time I would hear a worship song, God's throne became that chair. And I couldn't change it, and I couldn't get rid of it, and I couldn't even pray and ask God, can you help me? Because I couldn't even go to Him, because His authority in my head became that stepfather. And I would have been about 2 when I was with him. And I literally walked to every leader that had been with me for the last 7 years and said, I have a memory. Can you please pray with me? This is what we did. This is what we were taught to do. I have a memory. I would like you to help me pray for it. I want to be able to sing again. And they're like, nope, sorry, we won't do it. I'm like, what do you mean you won't? Nope, you and God need to work it out. I'm like, that's the issue. God and I can't work it out because I've lost my connection with Him and I don't know where He is, and He freaks me out and I'm terrified. And every single person I asked said the same thing. Nope, you and God need to work it out. And I was so angry and so frustrated. And I'm like, what the heck? You guys have been there for 7 years praying demons out of me, but you won't even pray this one prayer over me? I don't understand it. But looking back today, back then, hindsight's always better. I think that was God's hand of protection on me. Because the next thing that happened, I just so happened to go to class. And in class, our teacher said, I really felt like the Lord wanted me to do a worship song today in class. Okay, no, that hadn't happened. And she's like, I got this CD, and she played a worship song in our classroom. And sure enough, my connection to God, my singing was gone. And as soon as I heard those words, in my head, it became my stepfather's awful red and black chair, and I just put my head down on my desk and just as silently as I could wailed. Like, we are talking sobs that, like, it was horrid. I'm like, sorry. I mean, you can't stop it. I could not do anything to keep myself from crying. Did not understand why, but I could not. And what was crazy, this was even crazier than all that. This lady named Leah, amazing godsend that she was. Next thing I know, she is kneeling down by my desk, and she looked at me and she goes, do you mind if I give you a hug? What? You're asking permission? Like, until then, I'd had leaders say, you will hug these people. You will let me do this. They've held me down. They've done whatever they wanted to do to my body. This was the first woman who gave me back my power and said, I'd love to give you a hug. Do you mind if I give you a hug? And of course, I let her give me a hug. But I knew she was different. I knew why I was supposed to go sit under her teaching. I knew there was a reason that I met her and I was in that class, and that woman gave me back my power that one day. So there's more to come about that. If you have any questions, please let me know. And thanks for listening.